What's up, my friends? These readings are to be used as tools to give you guys insight into what you may look forward to in the month of January. Not much else to it. We're just going to jump into these readings together. 3 cards to choose from today. You're choosing from 3 oracle cards, and then we are doing tarot real time together. And whenever you're ready, let's jump into your reading. What's up, group number 1? Here is your reading for what you can look forward to the month of January. Now, it's very clear that you guys are going through some sort of paradigm shift in the month of January. These are energies that you would probably already be currently experiencing in your incarnation, going between a paradigm and a world that feels a bit brighter, that feels like it supports you in your most authentic path, more so than maybe a path that you have currently been on, or some type of karmic cycle that you've been dealing with for some time. It seems like you've been going through an immense amount of healing. So this is not like your first rodeo with whatever shift is trying to happen. I feel like this might be in regards to one specific area in your life. So it could have to do with addiction. It could have just, overall to do with a karmic relationship, something in general. Something that is karmic are those things in our life that feels like it quite literally has us, it has us shackled. Most devil cards do depict 2 individuals that are kind of chained together. It kind of feels like those things in our lives that we can't escape, and we feel like there's usually an immense amount of suffering, or a degree of suffering that seems to be attached to it. This is requiring you, in order to make this shift, this is requiring you to go into the depths of whatever you are fearful of experiencing, or to give yourself permission to actually feel it, right? I'm hearing you need to feel it in order to heal it. There might have been some aspect of you that has been trying to avoid whatever discomfort has been coming up around this certain karmic area. It could too just mean that overall the month of January feels like you are not here nor there. Like there's a lot of internal things that are occurring. This might be reflective of things that are going on externally as well. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you have external catalysts that keep bringing you into this energy of not feeling good enough, or the energy of like it's hard to look at yourself in the mirror, right? Or it's hard to be honest about something. It seems like this has been something, a challenge for you that you've been aware of for quite some time, and maybe not necessarily had the tools or the resources or the know-how to move past it, but the bottom energy, the bottom of the deck, something that you might not be seeing or something you might not be aware of in the month of January is, I'm hearing that there is going to be a major breakthrough in terms of whatever new direction or new paradigm that you're attempting to solidify. Yeah, it's interesting with this flamingo. It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So you guys might be working on projects right now, or you overall might be in the energy of it quite literally feels like one day you are living your best life and your beliefs are on point, your thoughts, I should say, are on point, and they're really in alignment with all the unearthing you've done up to this point. They're really in alignment with spiritual truth. And then the next day, it might feel like you have a lot of purges. Now, I'm hearing right now that it's very important to remember that when we are about to solidify into a new paradigm, that oftentimes we will go through what I call, or what my guides have called, it's kind of like the last stand, the final stand. So if you guys think of like video games, for example, if you think of video games, when you are about to enter into a new level, it's like you meet the boss at the end of the current level, and it seems like an accumulation of all of the tinier battles that you've won, right? All of the smaller battles that you've won in association with this level, or this area in your life, I should say, or this current karmic predicament that you feel like you're stuck in. It's like we meet that in one big ugly character, right? And so on one hand, we can maybe think that we don't have the tools necessary in order to beat the boss and to fully solidify into that next level. And we can almost trick ourselves too, that because we're seeing like all of these negative reflections, coming towards us that we've not actually done the work, right? That we've not actually made any type of progress. But Spirit is coming through and saying, you have come so far, not just in terms of just like this one area, but I feel like you guys don't understand how much holistic healing that you have done to be at this point in your paradigm, at this point in your life. And so to not be fooled by appearances is a really big thing with this devil card, right? The devil, it's safe to say, the devil energy, the devil archetype is the energy of illusion, right? Things that appear to be real, things that appear to bind us, but ultimately have no power in the house of God and in the kingdom of God and the kingdom of source, the kingdom of creation itself, right? Illusion, right? Things that are temporary, here today, gone tomorrow kind of thing. So this is really asking you to feel it. It's really interesting to notice that we have 3 major arcana coming through, and your only court card is the card of a feminine archetype, right? A feminine energy that's about feeling. So really important here that you are not perpetuating this karma. You're not attaching old stories to whatever breakthrough or whatever area in your incarnation feels like you really can't shake yourself out of. I'm hearing that you are so much closer than you think. You are on the brink of a threshold, or you are on a threshold, you're on a brink of a breakthrough, right? So it's really important that you're not thinking about it. You're not perpetuating thoughts. You're not attaching storylines, because that feeds the ego. Whether you're trying to disprove something that you hope is not true about yourself or you don't want to be true, whether you're trying to disprove an insecurity, or whether you're trying to prove your goodness in some area of your life. Anytime you're coming through from that place of trying to prove or trying to disprove, it's safe to say that that illusion is reigning your domain, right? The illusion is winning. But if you're coming from this space, if you're seated in this space of awareness that says, no, I and my Father are one, right? I am one with all of creation, and I am one with truth, and I only feed truth. I will choose to only allow truth to run my domains, right? And so everything else, all illusion, all everything that is temporal by nature, which includes your thoughts, which includes suffering, all of that has to fall away, right? And it's all bringing you closer to seeing through the eyes of God more permanently. And so you're more blissful, right? You're more peaceful, and it doesn't really matter what's happening externally, because there's such a trust that you have that everything is working out in your favor, even if you can't see it at this point in time. So this is where this energy and this kind of back and forth with this karmic predicament ultimately is here to bring you towards. Spirit doesn't matter how it needs to get your attention to move you in a certain direction. So on some level, it might seem cruel that you've had to deal with this for so long, right? On some level, it might seem really cruel that you've been in this space and not knowing how to shake yourself out of it, right? On one level, it can seem very cruel, but when you really do, when you've done this game of life enough times, you really start to catch on to the fact that suffering is grace, because suffering is Spirit's way to shake us up and to wake us up, right? Because most of the time, many of us are so lost in this stimulation nation and all of the things to do, the people to see, right? The places to go. We're so lost in it. Spirit actually wants us to have true fulfillment, which is not saying that those things can't happen anymore, but it is saying that when you are self-fulfilled, right? When you're relying on the self, when you're relying on the source for those things, then it's like everything, the people, the places, the things are infused with the utmost joy and presence and beauty that you wouldn't be able to experience. It's a level of depth that you wouldn't be able to experience if you sought those states of being externally first versus going within first to see that they're already there, right? Then everything you do externally is enhanced. So I know that it's, in some sense, it feels like kind of cruel what you've been going through. Like you can't break yourself out of this. But this is Spirit's way of bringing you to this state all the time, going to the source itself. Like we have to experience these states of going into the underworld before we can truly experience unpermeated bliss, unpermeated peace. And I am speaking, I can truly speak from a place of experience. So these things, they seem cruel at first, but it really is bringing you into a state of long-lasting peace. We have the King of Pentacles right underneath the Sun card. So it's like, I almost see it like this, like it's telling a story, right? And so it's like everything that you bring to God, everything that you do from being in alignment with Source, you know, the Sun, Many cultures actually believed that the sun was God, right? That the sun was the source. And I mean, if you ask the plants and the animals, they would probably tell you that's God, right? So it's like anything that you do from there is guaranteed success, long-lasting success with the King of Pentacles, because it's born out of truth, right? If something is born out of fear, in other words, born out of illusion, it's not going to be long-lasting. That doesn't mean you failed in any way. Again, it's just like these purges. It's natural. This is what it means to be on a path of purification. It doesn't always feel good, but it starts to feel better and better as you go along, and you start to trust more and more, right? You start to trust that, okay, this is an emptying process, and I can actually close the gap between this uncomfortable karma, this uncomfortable pattern that I keep perpetuating. I can close that gap a lot sooner when I'm not resisting it. Right. And the final message that I just feel the guides like really like it's coming out from this side. I really feel the guides being like, okay, you need to talk about this, is this Queen of Cups, because notice how she almost has this like stream of energy going to her crown, right? Going into her crown chakra. So this is really saying, that what you need to know about this situation is not going to come to you through over analyzing things or trying to think your way, right? The crown chakra in convergence with the card that talks about intuition is so clear to me. It means feeling, right? This is why in Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, he talks about how females, right, people that embody female bodies are a lot closer to enlightenment, or it seems, I shouldn't say closer to that. Okay, hold on. Before y'all go crazy on me, just hear me out. They say the feminine vessel, generally, it's a lot more intuitive and easier for them to adjust to meditation and to attain those higher levels, because women naturally are in tune with their emotions, right? They're feeling. You have to be present in order to feel what's going on, right? And men, they say, he said, and I definitely feel this on an intuitive level myself, men tend to be much more in their minds, right? So you're in your mind, so that's one step removed from being in your feelings, and you need to be in tune with your emotions, not lost in them, but in tune with them in order to access the present moment. So you see where I'm getting at. So if you're in your thoughts and you're perpetuating these stories and you're getting lost in these stories, then you are a little bit farther away from your goal of peace and just being on the other side of whatever karmic predicament this is for you. So yeah, overall, it's important to not get in your head, not attach stories to it. You'll receive a lot more clarity and insight around this area if it's necessary when you're in states of contemplation or meditation. And I just want to point out too that it's interesting that in the major arcana that temperance comes before the devil. So we have 14 and 15. And I don't feel like that's by accident that we don't have temperance coming after the devil. Like you experience the devil and then temperance, because oftentimes what can happen, you guys, is as we are doing these purges, as we're embodying more light, right? It's like the brighter the light, the bigger the shadow that's cast. There's a reason why that's said. And so as you are, it's so funny because this is actually talked about in some communities of like, why am I meditating, right? And I'm doing all these spiritual practices and it seems like everything is falling apart, right? The law of opposites is a very active force on this planet, right? It's because it's drawing out from you those deep subconscious and unconscious patterns that didn't have the ability to come to the surface before because you just kept adding bullshit onto it, right? And so I'm not surprised that temperance comes first, because it's like you start this healing process and then you meet more of that that part of yourself that's harder to look at, right? I love that in this deck in particular, the devil is holding a mirror. You see that? It's like those aspects of yourself that's hard to look at. And so it might be like an internal battle. It might be something that you're externally battling. If it's external, then of course, it's all the same. It all creates a feedback loop. There's no separation, right? When there's things externally from us that just trigger us, and that for the life of us, it seems like it has a death grip over us and like we can't get out of it. We can't escape it no matter how much we just like are seeking other ways or seeking other avenues or other opportunities. It's like life has us right here, right? It's because there's an aspect about this that you might have attached your identity to this, right? To whatever continues to perpetuate. There's an aspect of you that might actually be getting some sort of payoff, no matter how uncomfortable it actually is, and no matter how much some of you guys are like, fuck that, there's no payoff I'm getting, right? That from the level of our higher self and the level of beings that are not in the third dimension, anytime there's any type of emotion, even if it's the most negative emotion, that to higher dimensional beings is like, that's living, right? That's literally living, because you don't experience those emotions when you are in unity consciousness, when you're just a part of the unified field and you don't have any evidence to suggest anything otherwise, right? So, you know, just to give you guys a little bit of context for whatever you're going through, like, don't make it a bigger deal than what it is, right? The devil is most certainly in the details. It's in the smallest ways that you give your power away. It's in the smallest ways that you think you're a victim to this situation, or to your own thoughts, to your own self, right? But when you realize that truth is all that there is, right? And everything that's in this physical reality is just a distortion of that truth. Doesn't mean it's bad, right? Distortion doesn't mean negative. It just means it is not in its pure form, right? So it's distorted. And that's fine, right? It is like, it's so short, you guys. So month of January seems like, I really do feel like, because we do have the sun at the bottom of the deck, I do feel like the month of January, you are going to finally break through whatever this karmic pattern has been. That's probably been following you most of your life, because I am seeing you've done a lot of healing up to this point in time. Your biggest point of advice from your guides is to not attach thoughts, not attach stories, to not believe yourself, especially when it has to do with this karmic area of your life, right? You might get some insight as to how it was meant to catalyze you and to shape you in a certain way, and that's great. If it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel more liberated, lean into that. But if you start to feel more shackled, if you start to feel more desolate, if you start to feel like you're in greater amounts of despair, then relinquish, right? It is not born of the source, right? Just keep letting go. I hope this brought clarity, comfort, contentment to your heart, pile number one. If it did, please give this video a thumbs up. Please comment down below. All of these things help my channel expand. If you've been here before, please hit that subscribe button. I know I'll see you guys again. What's up, pile number two? Here is your reading for your January overview. Now, my pile number twos. It's very evident that there is something that you have been working really hard towards, or there is some sort of achievement or something in your career, in the area of career. This could also be the area of family, but there's just overall something that really matters to you, that you have been working at for some time. And this could also have to do with several areas at once. This could be with your physical health. This could be just with your family life. This could have to do with the education of a child. This could have to do with your own education. This could have to do with just a side hustle that you want to be a full-time thing, or just whatever you have, whatever means a lot to you that you feel like is really in alignment with what you are here for. That's really in alignment with your soul's blueprint. I'm hearing that you guys are going to have major progress, right, by doing less, believe it or not, right? Because for your main theme for the month of January, we have the Observer, right? And to clarify that, I mean, we have the High Priestess too. So what more evidence do we need about what creates a true breakthrough? And right now I'm being guided back to that saying, or by the quote, that Abraham Lincoln, if he was given 5 minutes to chop down a tree, that he would spend the first 3 minutes sharpening his axe, right? So you sharpen your axe, you sharpen your connection to whatever it is that you want to create on this world, right? You actually develop so much more power when you are in a state of meditation, or when you are allowing yourself to go into those more feminine energies, right? Versus than just trying to bulldoze your way ahead. You know, because it's interesting, although we do have the Chariot card here, you guys, I want you to notice that the difference between this Chariot card and other Chariot cards is, in many other Chariot cards. How many times am I going to say chariot cards? In many other decks with the chariot, you generally see someone who's very active, right? He's very actively going towards something externally. But I love that in this deck, the chariot is seen in this more Cancerian kind of energy, you know, this guy holding the crab and just connecting with himself, right? Going internally, eyes closed, looking in. Because I feel like oftentimes, you know, with this restoration of the feminine energy, right? The feminine archetype on our planet, there can still be these sneaky undertones of what true productivity is. Right? You cannot underestimate the power of a meditation session and how that opens your pathway, right? So especially if you're in the realms of working with the lives of other people, you guys, it is honestly, I can almost say it is your duty, especially if you're watching this, it is your duty to be cleansing yourself of your own impurities, of your own flawed perceptions. Because in meditation, you strengthen your spiritual eye. You see a lot more, right? You're not just seeing from your own limited perception of things and how you think they should be, your own preferences. Because if you're working with other people and you're just a parent or whatever, it's like when your third eye is much more active and you're seeing more holistically, you're less likely to give people advice from your own standpoint and your own paradigm. Right? Because you're able to tune into their paradigm and you're able to see and deeply feel what it is that they actually need. And it might, in some instances, be very different from what feels truthful to you. But that is a true guide. That is a true mentor. That is a true service or servant of the highest, right? Of Source itself, is a being that is operating from states. I'm looking a little rough today, you guys. You have to be kind to me. I'm on my moon right now, so I'm just... okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, that's a true way shower, is someone that can holistically really feel into the paradigm of someone else and who has their psychic senses very active and they're relying on those other senses, right? Their extrasensory gifts and abilities to feel into what someone else actually needs, right? You're not projecting your own bullshit or your own storyline or what's worked for you onto other people. The only time I could see someone doing that, you know, and I'm not really saying this about you guys, but we see younger souls doing this all the time when they're projecting their paradigm and their reality and what feels right for them onto other people. It's because they're seeing from a very narrow lens versus an individual. An older soul has gone through many integrations, many different life cycles, probably not just within this, you know, third dimensional plane of existence on planet Earth, but on other forms of existence like this, similar to this, with their own energies and their own laws governing that, right? Older souls tend to be much more encompassing, and just because we know it's all fucking play. Like there's no big deal to it, right? There's no big deal to all of this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, there's ways that we can live that are much more unique and much more uniquely in alignment, I should say, to our soul's blueprint and our constitution, right? I mean, this is one of the reasons why Ayurveda was so successful or has been so successful for over 5,000 years. Right? Western medicine is modern medicine, I should say, is just like a newborn babe, still trying to figure the fuck out how to walk, right? I'm not saying it's not good, but, you know, I tend to hear a lot less stories about, you know, things like Ayurveda that have a philosophy around the elements, the 5 elements, and a philosophy around different body types. And you're not going to treat all those body types the same, all those constitutions the same, right? You're going to treat them uniquely. Versus modern medicine kind of has it backwards, and it's like, okay, this fixes one thing for this one person, it should work for everyone, right? I'm sorry to say, but that is very like young soul bullshit. You know what I mean? But you know, that was a tangent. So overall, I am getting that you guys have been working at something for some time, and even in this Knight of Pentacles, you know, like in most tarot decks, you do see a knight that the horse is just kind of hanging out. The buffalo, he's just chilling. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, right? But I love that, especially in this card. It's like, yes, he is working towards goals. Like he's got shit in his hands, right? He's working, he's stacking up his pentacles, but he's in no rush, right? So there's a very sense of the month of January is really inviting you to like not rush and to stop stressing, right? Because what you might not be seeing, the bottom of the deck energy, you guys, we have the Two of Pentacles here, right? Which generally talks about there's an aspect, there's something that's out of balance in your life, right? There's an area, it might be quite literally like a relationship in your life has kind of taken a back burner, or there's aspects of your life that are not getting the same amount of love as certain other aspects. You know, it might be what you are trying to really build, trying really hard to build, or trying really hard to figure out. But this is really saying, you know, give some more love to that feminine side, right? The nurturing side, right? Giving more love to the yin aspect of yourself. And all in good times, right? Oh yeah, we do have the Five of Pentacles underneath that too. So this most certainly could have to do with like fear of, when I see the Five of Pentacles, I always think fear of like schooling, or fear of education for a child. But this could just have to do with like, you're really trying to build your finances, or you're really trying to build something new, or get out of some situation that you're in. And Spirit is saying that you're going to make a lot more progress on your meditation cushion. I mean, there's so many teachers and so many examples I feel that we can give of, you know, the magic, the true magic that happens when you are attempting to connect with source, right? That's all meditation really is. You are going directly to the source of what makes this entire reality what it is in the first place. Your circumstances, your friends, your family, right? You're going directly to the source versus trying to like solve it on the outside. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull back the curtain and see who's really operating this shit, you know? And I'm gonna really try to talk to that individual, right? And so, you know, however you are guided to commune, whether that's prayer or what have you, right? There is just a strong emphasis of the month of January. You are in this observing mode. Look at this. Can you see all this? I just really want you to take this in. And I love that this little guy too, he has like a telescope. He's like really trying to see what's going on. You can even see like, oh my God, that's so pretty. This is part of my Christmas present, you guys. But look at this little guy, like, or look at this face in here. There's like two faces in this moon. Right, you have like the moon who's so obvious to see, and then you have this like subtle form, this really subtle energy, not forgetting, like this is really about strengthening your conviction in the true nature of reality, right? Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps right now. But the month of January, I'm hearing too that you are going to, if you really do lean into this, you guys, because the timelines are open to you, but if you really do take advantage of these catalysts to go into yourself, so starting your day with just like a 5-minute meditation, whatever you can do, 30 seconds, right? Or I know some people are much more successful with doing like 1-minute meditations every hour of the day, right? So something that you are likely to actually do, that you are likely to actually, you know, you're not biting off more than you can chew, because you're actually setting yourself up for failure when you do that, right? But something that really allows you to silence your mind, because it's only when the bullshit of your mind is quiet that Spirit can actually come through and talk to you, right? They say that prayer is when you have the opportunity to talk to God, and meditation is when God has the opportunity to speak to you, or your higher self, your guides, whatever you want to call it, right? It's all of that and it's none of it at the same time. But you are going to have profound breakthroughs on your meditation cushion, you guys, to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if you've been like trying to figure out a specific area in your life, and you've been going about it in all the ways that you can that seem logical to you. You're gonna have a burst of insight, I swear. Like, I can already feel it. There's gonna be a burst of insight. You're gonna receive a vision, or you're gonna hear your guides, something where it becomes so obvious of what to do. And it's like, I'm almost feeling like you guys are gonna be like, oh my God, how did I not see this? Right? Because y'all were too busy trying to do. The Spirit's trying to get you to sit on your ass, pile number 2, and just be quiet, right? And to kind of let Spirit take over. I really do love this too, because this card reminds me of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Where Krishna is essentially telling Arjuna, this being this kid essentially who was like fighting with his, he's like of royalty, and his family and other aspects of his family, his extended family, are going into this like battle, and Arjuna is so torn apart internally, right? And his charioteer, the person guiding his chariot, is actually Krishna, a form of, I believe it's a form of Brahman, so the ultimate Godhead, right? Krishna is an incarnational form of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I do know I have some people of that of the Hindu culture and religion that do tune into my reading. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm actually rereading it right now. He's asking, why do I have to do this, right? Why do I have to fight, right? And take this fight as anything that's happening in your life, right? Take this parallel to anything that's happening in your life that you're like, this is fun and all, but I just want to experience peace, right? I'm at a point in my incarnation, my evolution, where I just, I don't care what I have to do. I just want to be living peacefully and simply, right? And Krishna essentially says, you can do that, right, through what's known as karma yoga. Karma yoga is one of the sects of yoga, or of union, right? Union with the Godhead. That is talked about the most, and that's when you're utilizing everything that's happening in your circumstances, in your external life, as a devotion to God, right? So you're not worried about getting these things and doing these things because you want to get money, right? Or because you want to get recognized, you want to have the fame, or whatever, you want to be finally approved of by your family, accepted by the people you went to high school with, whatever it is, right? But you're doing it as a devotion to this lifetime, as a devotion to the source of all things, right? And if that's too spiritual, if that's too up in the air, you're just doing it because you don't know what else you would be doing, right? And you do want to experience deeper levels of peace. I can tell you that peace comes when you are not attached to the fruits of it, when you're planting the seeds because you just don't know what else you would be doing, right? That's your dharma, what you're naturally guided to. And I'm hearing that you will strengthen your connection to something much bigger than you. And it's like your why might be flickering at this time, or like, why the fuck? Why am I going through this? Or why is it not here yet? Or why has it been taking so long? Right? It's because it's not a punishment. But if you guys are tuning into this reading, you guys are at a level of advancement in your evolution where priorities need to shift, and remembering what comes first, right? Where does the world of form come from? The world of form is born from the formlessness, right? This is asking you to connect with that field of formlessness. And you do so, you become a microcosm of that field of formlessness when you find emptiness across your own field of consciousness as much as you can, right? Taking little chips away. The Bhagavad Gita also says that, no effort towards spiritual progress goes to waste. Because Arjuna feels like, I'm going to start this spiritual path, or I'm going to start this path of meditation, contemplation, of trying to connect with source, and I'm going to fall off. There's a fear that he's going to fall off, or that he could do something wrong, right? And Krishna, his charioteer, reminds him that no effort goes to waste, right? In this lifetime, and he also says in the other lifetimes to come, right? Those who put their spiritual practice first, those are beings that are born into families that are very spiritual, and that put truth first. And those that forget about their spiritual practice, they are born, this is from the Bhagavad Gita, I'm not saying this, but I'm kind of saying this, but they're born into the wombs of the ignorant, right? They're born into families and dynamics where it's a lot harder for them to wake up out of that suffering, right? But again, ultimately understanding from this perspective, from this lifetime, it seems so long, but when you're looking more closely through the eyes of spirit, you start to really see more and more how, wow, this just goes on in so many different forms. There's no rush, right? It's no big deal. So the month of January, there is a huge opportunity. There's a lot of energy that supports breakthroughs, massive breakthroughs in terms of what's going to give you true horsepower, right? And then whatever pause you guys have been in, or whatever you've been trying to work through, or whatever you've been trying to figure out externally, huge breakthroughs coming from this space, right? On your meditation table, closing your eyes, going in, closing off the senses, right? When we're all scattered and shit, right? When our consciousness is going everywhere, it's like the little energy that we do have towards these projects, It's not enough to actually make a whole lot of progress, right? But when you are, and sometimes these breakthrough guys can happen, like you don't have to be on this, like, what I'm trying to say is, don't feel like, okay, I'm about to start this new endeavor and I'm about to start meditating and now it's going to take me lifetimes, right? You have no idea how grace works. And sometimes, you know, it might be like your third session or your fourth session. It's like you have this huge epiphany where you're like experiencing oneness with everything, and right? Or just whatever it is. You go into meditation and you realize how you've been treating your friend, or you realize how you've been treating your employee because you've been harboring a resentment against them, and that resentment heals internally. And you don't do anything differently to them, but now they're showing up differently to you, your relative, whatever. They're approaching you differently because of what you did in the realms of spirit, because they can feel that we're all so connected. They could feel your disposition change towards them. So the way that they act towards you, they finally pay you back that money. They finally give you that raise, that promotion, right? So there's these realms are not realms to be overlooked and to think that it's silly, right? Because if you guys are at a point to, if you are serious about your gifts and what you want to bring to this planet, it's like it's time to bump it up to the next level, right? No more of this kindergarten shit. Not saying that what you've done up to this time is not something to be proud of and something that you haven't worked hard towards, right? But it's like there's a new level of responsibility that's being called of you, and it requires you to empty yourself out even more so you can be an even more powerful vessel for the all. All right, you guys, please give this video a thumbs up, comment down below. This helps my channel expand, but I do appreciate it too. I do like connecting with you guys and just seeing how these readings are landing. But yeah, if you've been here before, you'll be back again, you know, and you might as well just hit that subscribe button. It also helps me. Yeah, and I hope I see you guys soon. What's up, pile number 3? Here is your reading for the month of January, what you can expect and look forward to. So for those of you guys that chose this pile, it seems like the month of January, you guys are going to notice and be given external confirmation of the bounty that you've unlocked within yourself with Treasure Island. It's so interesting. So this is my first time using this deck. And as I was shuffling the cards in this deck and just like I was looking through each picture, when I first opened this is part of my Christmas present, y'all. But when I was opening this, I remember looking at Treasure Island and just like feeling that it was going to come up in the first reading that I did, or one of the first readings, right? And just the power behind this, because this is not just talking about treasure on the world of form, but although that's part of it, but you know, there's a bunch of hearts floating around too. So it's so interesting because the pile 4 had the Chariot in the same position, and then the card next to it was the High Priestess. But we have the Hierophant here, and so just I feel like this is going to be an opposite message from pile number 2, even though they're similar cards, which is so beautiful how tarot works in that sense. But I feel like the month of January is a month to act and to continue to put into practice the laws of abundance and the laws of true prosperity. Right, so this card Treasure Island has to do with, you know, the law of attraction, and just, you know, I feel like it's like the golden rule is what I'm hearing, right? A being that attracts true prosperity and true abundance to them is a being that is operating from the realms of the golden rule, treating others as you wish to be treated, right? And just seeing other people as being just as important, just as equal to you, as you, no different, no separate to you, because I am getting this sense of you guys taking care of your people, or being really appreciated by the people that you work with, by your clients, being really appreciated. I mean, this could even apply if you are coming over from pile 2. This is absolutely could be building off of this too, of the importance of going in, right? I feel like this group, if you are just solely here for pile number 3, I feel like this group is at a level of advancement where you guys really do know the importance of mastering your internal state of being through things like meditation and maybe even active visualization, affirmations, whatever. I love that this Chariot card, it's a lot less of an active card. There's still a lot of power. There's a hell of a lot of power behind this Chariot card. But what's so different about this Chariot card versus in other tarot decks is that it's not as active, right? He's not complacent, but he's doing the, oh my God, I'm sorry, you guys, I have so many flyaways. My hair is like feathery. Excuse me. Okay. He's not complacent, but this component, this part of connecting is just as important. This part of manifestation, I mean, this is you're connecting with the realms where everything is born of, right? So if you think of like a cloth, for example, like we're all this unified cloth, and you pick up one piece of cloth here, that's like your mom, and you pick up one little piece of cloth over here, and that's like your raise, or that's like your $10,000 bonus, or whatever it is, right? It's like it's all different parts of the same fabric of the same creator, the formlessness, right? But it just takes on different patterns, right? It takes on different forms when it's in this third dimensional plane, when it's born in this third dimensional plane of existence, right? So I feel like this is kind of enunciating, because we do have the Chariot falling underneath Treasure Island, that as you experience these external confirmations of the internal shifts that you've been doing, to not put the carriage in front of the horse, right? To not then forget of what it was that actually brought you this type of prosperity and brought you this type of abundance and richness, right? Because it feels like this has been a long time coming. And I do feel like this is an extremely active state for you, or an extremely active month for you, with this Page of Wands on the bottom of the deck. So something that you might not be seeing coming is coming really quickly, right? That's what she said. But something that you might not see coming is a new opportunity that comes in really quickly. And like I'm getting this sense of like you guys have maybe been anticipating this, and you've been seeing little droplets, little tiny confirmations, or like you can kind of feel like, oh my God, I'm doing it, like it's working, it's happening. But it's been like slowly little trickles, and now I feel like something's gonna happen to where it's just like the floodgates feel like they're coming in, right? This could also be saying the month of January, you guys, you receive a new mentor, or you just like a new teacher comes into your life, like you're ready for the next level, or you're ready for the next step to deepen you into your practice, to where, you know, the external is bomb.com, right? But I feel like you guys are at a level, my pile number 3 is where you realize where true sustenance is born from and true prosperity is found, right? And I feel like you're at a point too where you're not about to give up those internal riches, right? Laying your treasures up, right? In the place where it's actually worthy, like treasures, laying the heavenly treasures, right? Versus the worldly treasures. Because this is, I mean, you guys are coming through as a very spiritual group with this Hierophant card, right? The Hierophants, if you like watch Vikings or like Last Kingdom or things like that, you guys see a lot of the times the kings would answer to, you know, their spiritual advisor, would have a spiritual advisor to make sure that what they're doing is in alignment with the law of God or the laws of the universe. And so I'm really interpreting this to be the same thing. It's like, what I'm doing still in alignment with my soul's blueprint? Am I still living in integrity with what I came here to do? Am I still acting out of the benefit of all involved? Again, coming back to that golden rule that I heard coming through. I am a mess, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm on my moon cycle, so it's a little messy. Am I still acting in alignment and in integrity to what brought me here in the first place? And the people, right? Understanding that, especially if you are in a space where you're working with other people, like, I mean, you kind of rely on those other people to be at the level of success that you are, right? And it's not even like a codependent thing. It's just like the teacher and the student are both playing their part, right? It's just part of this incarnation. It's just part of what makes this world go round. Is there's different characters, there's different parts that feel natural to us, that we signed up for, that our higher selves saw fit in order to experience a certain fractal of creation, in order to have a certain type of expansion and understanding of what it means to be God incarnate, right? Divinity incarnate. And, you know, we're going to play all the different types of parts and all the different types of roles in order to achieve that sense of completion, that sense of unification, that sense of holism, right? And so, I mean, there's nothing to it like, I am your teacher and you are my student, you are learning from me. It's like, no, my friend. It is definitely a two-way street. We're all teachers. We're all teachers of life. We're all students of life, essentially. But I feel like overall, this is just, yeah, I mean, I really don't need to drag this reading on anymore. I feel like this is really just saying that the month of January, I feel like you're going to recognize a true level or a new level of success that you haven't seen before. And it's very evident from the outside looking in. Like, people can see the progress that you've done. People can see, like, it's not just evident to you is what I'm trying to say. Other people are going to start to comment on your success and are also going to comment on your progress. Not just internally, not just in how you carry yourself, but just in your interactions with other people. I feel like you guys are coming across a lot more calm, a lot more centered, a lot more wise overall. But yeah, you guys might call in a new teacher. You might be ready for the next teaching. You guys might become a mentor to someone or a teacher to someone. If that's that's kind of part of the realms that you're already in. I'm just hearing that there's a new level of expertise and mastery that you are stepping into. And it's all aiding to this external prosperity and working with other people. Something that you might not be seeing is like a collaboration coming in the month of January out of nowhere. And I mean, Spirit is honestly saying it would be if you do have people reaching out to you, or if you're inspired to reach out to someone else to do a collaboration, to seize that opportunity, because it's definitely going to add to your network. It's going to create a different dimension of this expertise and your mastery that I feel like you were this is something that you've probably already been intuiting and aware of. This could also have to do with just like working with or getting a new client. If you guys are in like I just thought something like construction or just like real estate or something where, you know, the client is not necessarily a person, but like an organization or like, you know, a different business partnership that has to do with like a bigger organization, or, you know, it could be a partnership like one-to-one type of thing. But, you know, the month of January, the biggest piece here that I'm getting is to just like bask in it, you know, bask in your fruits, and also to be wise to not forget where those fruits were born of, and to not get swept up in the success that's going to come in, this new level that's raining in for you, and to again remember where that was born from. To continue your meditation practices, you guys. Continue your spiritual practice. Continue putting your dharma and your service above all. So continuing to plant the seeds for the pure fact of planting the seeds. Continue to work in harmony, to place other people's needs as just as important as your own. Essentially what the Hierophant is the vessel, or the being, the individual that obtains spiritual law, right? In order to maintain harmony on the material plane, on the physical plane. And so Spirit is wanting you even more to embody those codes even more, because I am hearing too that you might even have people coming at you hot, like coming your way hot, because they see how much success that you've gained for yourself. They see what you've created for yourself. And I feel like some people might have even been individuals that saw you start from the beginning, because this is the Three of Pentacles, right? This is talking about something that you might not have been doing for a very long time. You might not have been doing for a very long time. Okay, that's where we're at with our grammar today. But something that you might not have, even like a field or an area that you might be fresh in, like under 3 years, right? Like a really new, fresh business. This, for a few of you, this could even be like 3 months. But like people are seeing your success, your immense amount of success in a very short amount of time. So people are going to be rushing into you, or rushing towards you, or asking you questions, or reaching out to you, or like people can just feel that the place that you come from it's built on solid ground, right? Because it's built from going internally. It's built from connecting to the God within, right? I came across this beautiful quote, and I know I'm going to butcher it, but it was this beautiful quote on the Baba Ramdas Instagram page. And it said something like, it was an excerpt from the Upanishads. And it said, who else would be better than I to know God, since God resides in the depths of me, right? And I read that like a dozen times. Like I screenshotted it and I read it like a dozen times. I'm getting goosebumps because this is what this reminds me of. Like, who better than to know God but you? Because, you know, you are essentially a spark of God. You know, the spark of God lies within you. And so I feel like a big part of your success, you know, is from you connecting to the true source of all things and remembering that spark of God and doing your best to connect with that, right? That's essentially what good law of attraction teachers will do, is to remind you that you are already those things, right? And that it's not about needing that external confirmation to reflect that back to you, right? Neediness does not exude confidence, right? But it's this, I am getting that you guys do carry yourself in a way that just is like truly confident, because you don't need it, and so it comes to you, right? It's kind of like that thing, like boy likes girl, girl doesn't like boy, boy doesn't like girl, so girl starts to like boy, you know, like that kind of like that type of bullshit, you know what I mean? And so I feel like a big part of your soul's blueprint in general overall is probably waking people up to these types of things. And so it feels like this is a very like complex, and I guess all lifetimes are complex, but I feel like your incarnation and your existence is very multi-layered and multi-leveled. And because I'm aware of it, I feel like you guys are aware of it too, because it's like really coming through as like a profound realization within this reading. All lifetimes have their own layers of complexities, right? But because it's something that is coming through consciously right now, or in this channeling session, I feel like it's something that you guys are aware of, that like, and that's one of the reasons that you're such a great vessel, because you're like, yeah, I'm successful, whatever, I'm getting more success. But there's a level of you that kind of probably already knows that people are going to ask you, or people have been asking you, and you're like, oh, okay, that's one of the reasons, right? That's one of the many reasons why my life is the way it is right now, or it's going to be in the month of January, is because it's not just about me, right? This is about how other people will be inspired by my incarnation, or my example, or what I'm here for, because you guys have definitely done this. This ain't y'all first rodeo, I'll tell you that, because you are coming through like very masterful. But I do feel like you will be working with, or people will be coming to you asking you to be their mentor. Month of January and beyond. I am feeling that this is kind of more of a long-term thing, but I feel like the month of January for you guys is just going to be very much so like just like profound. To a new level that might have even seemed like you, it almost feels like you guys got to a point to where you had these big dreams, but you were okay if they didn't come in. And so I feel like that's you being like, okay, boy not liking girl, or you like not caring if it happens. And so now it like rushes after you, or it rushes in. Yeah, beautiful. I mean, this is really powerful. Yeah, but the main message coming through, enjoying it, but then again, not putting then the horse behind the carriage, right? And continuing to put your service and continuing to align every day, aligning, going in, releasing, letting go of your ideas of what it means to be successful and what it means to be a failure, right? Because then you understand that, you know, everything, if you're laying your treasures up in this world of transient nature, and your worth, your self-worth, your identity, then it's going at some point to get swept away, because that's just the law of this plane of polarity of it's what goes up must come down, right? But you really do, I really feel like you guys have found a true sense of prosperity that kind of brings you out of this space of getting so swept up in it. I mean, you're bound to get affected to some degree of what happens on this earth plane, but I feel like you're not in a rut very long, or you don't stay there very long. You don't it's like you might feel it for a day or two, but because you are so rooted in your practices, that really quickly bring you back into alignment with the truth of things. Like I'm seeing someone that might start wavering a little bit, and then you sit down in your cushion, and it's like, you're like, okay, you are brought back into alignment with just like true power, which is not giving a fuck about what it looks like externally. And because so, it's like the external man is just, mwah, it's delicious. So whatever you're doing, keep it up. Month of January, you've earned it. You deserve this, man. So if this brought confirmation, peace, clarity, whatever to your heart, give this video a thumbs up. Please comment down below. If you've been here before, please consider subscribing to my channel. All of this helps my channel grow and expand. And I appreciate you guys very much. I hope I see you soon.